Hi, welcome. I have a Jimmy's Soul song playing in the background. I'm hoping you can hear that okay, but I also have it linked down below. I always like to start this lesson by, as we kind of begin to talk about consequentialism, I always like to talk about, I always ask my students in the classroom, I always say, would you rather have $10 million, a large amount of money, enough money that you could essentially not have to worry about money for the rest of your life, or would you rather be happy? Somehow I'm this magical genie and I can grant you either happiness and bliss for the rest of your life, or you can have $10 million. And to a certain degree, some of the students will, say, I'd rather have the money. And essentially those are people who probably are pretty happy, or they think that, that having the money will somehow make them happy. My opinion is that, that as far as it goes, the problems you have now will probably be the similar problems. Your problem is not having money, that's one thing, but if it's problems with people trying to borrow from you and, having expectations and depression and everything, those things will follow you even if you become a millionaire. A great example of this would be in the recent news would be Robin Williams committing suicide. Here's a man who has tons of money, tons of success, etc., and yet he still suffers from depression and still kills himself. That didn't make a difference. And so happiness is, in the end, what money is there to buy. And so all of consequentialist ethical forms are saying, look, actions are not good because they're somehow good. They're good because they bring about happiness. They bring about pleasure. They bring about positive things. They're consequentialistic, which means that they're looking for the consequence. Money is consequentialistic. Money is good because it brings about an end, which is the being able to purchase, being able to provide security, being able to take care of your sick when, take care of your family when they're sick, being able to, whatever it is. That's the good of money. In and of itself, money has no value. It's not intrinsically good. But pleasure is intrinsically good. Happiness is intrinsically good. And so what happens is all consequentialist ethical forms are interested in this consequence, which is happiness or pleasure or whatever. And so they're all what we call hedonic or hedonistic, meaning they're all interested in pleasure as the good. They're all consequentialist in that they're all interested in the consequences rather than the act itself. Then action is good or bad, not based upon, things like murder isn't wrong because murder is wrong. Murder is wrong because it robs somebody of the pleasure of life. It hurts their family. It breeds fear in a community. It causes pain. It's not that murder is bad, that killing is bad in and of itself. It's bad because of the pain and the lack of pleasure that those kind of acts create. And so everything is judged by the consequence that deals with pleasure or pain. And so I throw this video in here, and it's not like a serious video or anything. I just like it because it's a funny video. I think the first time I ever heard it was with, that I can remember hearing it. I've probably heard it before, but the first time I remember was I was actually, I think I'd gone to a Cardinals game with my girlfriend at the time, who became my wife, and it was with her brother and his girlfriend, who did not become his wife, and that song was on, and we all were singing it as we were driving home, and they all lived in St. Louis, and I lived in Central Illinois, but we were all driving back to one of their places, and so I always just find that a fun song, and it kind of says, you would think that, having a lot of things is what's going to make you happy, but sometimes it's the unexpected. And in the end, who cares? If you're happy, you're happy. It doesn't matter what your wife looks like if she makes you happy. It doesn't matter what your It doesn't matter what your job is if you like it. It doesn't matter how much money you have if you enjoy it. And that's sort of where hedonism comes along. Is it's saying, or consequentialism comes along, is it saying it's not the consequence, it's not the act itself, it's not that there's certain things, it's not that what it looks like, it's does it make you happy, does it make the world happy, does it make the world happy in that regard, and that's what is important.